Alright traders, welcome back. It is currently day 14. Today we're going to discuss a new style and something that's important for your exit, which is getting risk-free. A lot of the trades, if you've been a member of the live room for any time, or if you see me outside of CPSG at all, a lot of trades that I have end up getting stopped out at break even. The reason I do that is I'm aggressively always adjusting my stop loss levels for break-even circumstances. And so the term risk-free is very simple, and what it basically means is that worst case scenario with the trade, you lose zero money, meaning that if the trade goes bad against you, the most money you will lose is zero. That's the least gain you'll have. And getting risk-free can be done in two different ways. Number one is, of course, moving stop to break even, which is, of course, moving your stop to entry. So say if you were trading gold and you're entering at 1300, it would be moving your stop loss level to 1300 while your trade rises in profit, or taking out half the position and moving stops to the recent low. And so if you do this, you move your stops to the recent low, not necessarily where you entered at, but you take out half or partial of your position. Either way is equally effective. And you know, with this, a lot of people like to overcomplicate it. They like to add little, you know, nooks and little nodes and things. But really, getting risk-free is not to be confused. It's not to be overcomplicated. It's just simply taking a Fibonacci retracement, 50% to be exact, of the recent swing to get risk-free. What the recent swing means is that if you're entering off of a 3, your get risk-free point is from 2 to 3. If you're entering off of a 5, your entry risk point is off of 4 to 5. So if I bring over the charts here, if you decide to enter a market off of a 3, say you enter right here, then your risk-free is the 50% retracement of this point 2 to this point 3, meaning once the market retraces halfway, that's when you'll move your stop loss levels from up here to entry. If it's a 0.5 and you entered here and your stop was here, what you do is you take your 50% of this 0.4 to when this market comes down to 0.5. Now keep in mind, your 0.5 is your high. So it's not necessarily right at your 100 level, because you know, as well as I do, that the market isn't always perfect. It's going to overshoot your 0.5 at times. Sometimes you're going to have a great entry point. Sometimes, you know, you're going to have an entry that sits in drawdown for some days, and you have to really figure out, you know, how to attack it. And so this 4 to 5 will be the 50%, and it's just the same thing, 6 to 7 or 10 to 11. And so from the recent peak, you're always taking the 50% retracement. Once that is done, once the market is retraced there, it either has one or two options. It can continue lower and you get it, or it can bounce and it makes a new sequence. So of course, if you have a market that looks like this, origin 1, 2, and 3, and you look to enter here, the market goes back 50%, you're risk-free, stop loss to break even, this goes higher, then this becomes 4, this becomes 5. It's a dynamic experience. So then all you have to do is know that you have to switch and remeasure. Once again, a lot of people get stuck on that. So if you take a look at, you know, this, it's the same thing. If you enter here, you're looking at the 50% from 0.2 to 0.3. Then here the market has its verdict point. It can either continue lower, and this is 4, and this is 5, or it can go at the 50%, sit for maybe a minute, and then continue, and now you're risk-free. So now you have yourself in not only a winning trade, but a risk-free trade with no potential loss. And so this is a great way of protecting profits and a great way of getting yourself out of situations that would maybe not make you money. So here's an example of a gold trade that I took a long time ago. So the chart looks a little different. I always like to try to use, some of my reasons for entry and things. And as you can see, with what I did is I entered off of the market right here, off of my reasons for entry. All right. And once I did that, I'm noticing that this is a recent peak and this is a peak. So what I did from that point is I said, okay, origin to 1 to 2 to 3. Okay, we'll clean that up and do that again. Origin, 1, 2, 3. And of course, as we looked at our confluence, we found that our retracement from the actual entry was a little deeper. So we entered off a little bit of a deeper zone. But when we entered, we knew this was our 3 point, this is our 2. So I measured the fib. As you can see right here on that red line is my 50% Fibonacci level. Once the market even wicks that point, and by wicking, we've taught you of that little wick that it throws. Once it's done that, that's when we get risk-free. So you see right now it says buy, just a green line. Once I see that wick has hit, my stop loss is a little bit up above my entry. It's right at my entry. So this trade now has a chance to go back and hit stop and go lower. That's fine. I was risk-free, or continue higher and make me money. So once again, what we're doing is we're looking for the recent low to the swing. Now the goal of this idea is to trap, because traders don't know Traders never know where they're going to make money. They don't know when the market's going to reverse. They have a good chance of knowing, but if you're entering, if this is origin, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and we go on so forth. Okay, this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and if we are to take a look at these even, so when I look at these, we would be entering here and looking to get risk-free. If that doesn't work, enter here, looking to get risk-free. If that doesn't work, enter here, looking to get risk-free. Enter here, looking to get risk-free. Okay, and so getting risk-free, like we're talking about, is basically taking the need to be exactly right out of the market. This is just another type of trade setup to do that and to make things work. So as you're beginning your trading journey and as you start to expand your trading horizon, getting risk-free is going to be one of those areas where the beginner traders may forget about it, and the ones that are making money may remember. Every time you enter a trade, get in a habit of knowing that you're going to be getting risk-free at some time. Also, keep in mind that point 2 will it's going to be a stagnant point, but your point 3, you have to wait till the market is done. And what I mean by that is if you had point 3 sitting in here, but the market decides to go a little deeper, you have to wait till the market goes deeper, pulls it back in, and gives yourself some room so you can actually measure it. Too many people think that they can just measure from here to the 100 level or whatever, and even in right here where the 100 level is, too many people think that they can just do that, in which that doesn't work. You have to go to the actual market low. Where did the market actually stop? Not projected based off of a Fibonacci level. Once you can get that measurement down, once again it'll always spit out that 50% level. At that point, regardless of if it just barely hits it, I don't want to close above it. barely hits it. Barely hits it. Once it does that, that is your cue to move your stops from your stop loss level to your entry level. You are now in a risk-free trade. And so, you know, before we really just wrap this whole 18-day boot camp up, tomorrow we're going to talk about taking profit, and then we'll get into the extension dip, internal versus external, and wrap this thing up. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video, Getting Risk-Free. I'll see you guys back in tomorrow's video.